Saturday morning did not begin with an alarm clock in those houses. It began with the sound of a kettle finding its way to a low flame, and the smell of blue magic
before
being
the sun
scooped
got
out
too
with
high.
2 fingers because nobody owned a proper applicator, and the particular hush that fell over a kitchen when a mother said, "Sit down," before the sun got too high to look by. There was a whole world that happened between the stove and the back door on wash day in 1950s black households, and almost none of it survived the way it was supposed to. Not because it stopped working, because somebody decided it needed to be replaced with something you could buy in a box instead of something you had to be taught. The hands that did this work did not read instructions. They had watched their own mothers do it 100
I love how you do my
times
hair, Mama.
before they ever touched a comb themselves. And what they knew, what got passed down through fingers and steam, and the particular way a comb moved through a section
My mother
of
used to
hair
make this
without ever
same
once
recipe
catching.
every Sunday.
Grew hair longer
It's more
and
than just
thicker than
food.
anything that
It's our
came in
history.
a bottle with a brand name on it. Nobody wrote that down. It was never supposed to need writing down.
A little more
I'm
flour,
Viola.
perhaps.
And what I'm about to
Mama
tell
always
you,
said a
your
light hand
grandmother
makes a
knew
soft.
this. The question is whether anyone told you. If this is your first time sitting at this table with me,
Look at this
do me a
beautiful
favor
family
right
we've
now.
built.
Hit that subscribe button.
My heart is
Because
full
what
tonight.
we do here every single week is dig up what was buried, not lost, family. Buried. There's a difference. And by the end of today, you're going to understand exactly what I mean. Hit subscribe, ring that bell, and let's get into this. Number 1, before a single strand got touched, there was the inspection. Mama would part the hair down the center with her thumb, not a comb,
Now that it's
and
natural,
just look.
how much
Feel
longer
the
will it
scalp
take?
with her
Not-
fingertips, the way you check bread dough, pressing gently, moving section by section, checking for dry patches, for tender spots, for anything that told her what the week had done. Nobody called this a scalp assessment. Nobody needed to. She was reading the head the way some women read tea leaves, and she knew before a drop of anything touched that hair exactly what it needed that day. This was not guesswork. This was 40 years of hands on 40 different heads, and it meant the treatment that followed was never generic. It was specific. It was earned. Number 2, the oil never came cold. Big Mama warmed her castor oil in a small tin set right on the stovetop. Low heat, never a full boil, just enough that when she rubbed it between her palms, it felt like a summer afternoon instead of a refrigerator shelf. Cold oil sits on top of the hair. Warm oil opens the cuticle and goes where it's needed. Nobody in that kitchen had a chemistry textbook, but every woman doing this on a Saturday morning in 1953 was performing something close to a thermal treatment, decades before a dermatologist would put a name to why it worked. Number 3, the parting itself was a discipline. 4 sections, sometimes 6 for thicker hair. Each one clipped away with whatever was on hand. A hairpin, a strip of cloth, sometimes just twisted and tucked under itself. This was not about neatness. Working in small controlled sections meant every inch of scalp got touched. Every inch got oiled. Nothing got skipped because the whole head looked done from the outside. The beauty industry would eventually sell you a comb with teeth spaced just right and call it an innovation. Big Mama had a rat tail comb from the 5 and dime, and the patience to use it properly. And that was the whole invention right there. Number 4, bergamot. That green tin with the gold lettering sat on the back shelf, and she didn't slather it on. She took a small amount, rubbed it warm between her palms first, and worked it directly into the scalp, with her fingertips in small circles, never yanking, never dragging. Bergamot mint oil carries menthol, which does something to a scalp that women in that kitchen could feel immediately, even if they couldn't explain the mechanism. A cooling sensation followed by warmth, the kind of thing that told the body attention had arrived. Now, the ingredient I just mentioned and that tin of bergamot, you're going to see it again before we're through today. Hold on to that. Number 5, the massage was not a step, it was the treatment. 10, sometimes 15 minutes of small, deliberate circles across the whole scalp before a single strand got combed. Not aggressive, not fast. Slow enough that some women would close their eyes and lean their head back into it, like they were being prayed over. That's not an exaggeration, family. In some houses, it really did feel like a small ceremony, because in a way it was. Number 6, hot towels, wrung out from water just off the water, wrapped around the head after the oil went in, left there while she moved on to something else. Snapping beans, ironing a collar, checking on whatever was simmering on the stove. That heat did the same job a modern steaming cap claims to do now. Sold at $80 with a plug and a timer.
All right, children, come help me set the table now. It smells wonderful, Mama.
And Big Mama understood that 100 years before anybody trademarked the idea. Number 7, the detangling came last, never first, and always from the ends up, never the way down. Small sections, patient hands, a wide tooth comb worked from the bottom of a section slowly upward, only moving higher once that lower portion moved freely. Rip through hair from the root, and you tear it. Work up from the tip, and you're easing the same knot apart from where it's weakest. This is basic mechanics. It is also exactly what a licensed cosmetologist will tell you today, dressed up in different language and charged at $60 an hour. Before we keep going, family, I want to hear from you. What did the woman who raised you do on wash day that nobody in your house does anymore? What did her kitchen smell like on a Saturday morning? Drop her name in the comments right now. Let's give her her flowers. I guarantee somebody scrolling through this comment section right now grew up 3 states away from you with the exact same jar on the exact same shelf. Number 8, the rinse water was never plain. A little vinegar, sometimes lemon rind steeped in it overnight, poured through the hair after the oil treatment to close what the heat had opened. This was pH balancing, before anyone in a black household had ever heard the term pH. What she had was her grandmother's word. That vinegar rinse made the hair lay down and shine, and that was reason enough. Number 9, sulfur. Not the prettiest smell in the ritual, and everybody in that house knew it the second the jar came out. But sulfur ointment worked into a dry or itchy scalp did something real. It addressed the kind of scalp irritation that, left alone, slows growth altogether. Nobody had a name for seborrheic anything. They had a smell they tolerated because the results were undeniable, and a rule that you didn't complain about what worked. Number 10. This is the one people forget the fastest. She never washed the whole head with shampoo every single week. Some weeks it was a co-wash, a light cleanse, oil and water, and nothing stripping, because she understood, without ever using the word moisture barrier, that washing too hard too often left hair brittle and dry by Wednesday. The beauty industry spent decades selling you a shampoo you were supposed to use daily. Big Mama knew better than that in 1954. Number 11, egg. cracked into a bowl, sometimes with a little mayonnaise stirred through, worked into the length of the hair and left under a plastic cap. Sometimes an actual grocery bag tied at the edges for 20-30 minutes before rinsing with cool,
like that.
Never
Start at the ends
water.
and work your way up. See how smooth that
That's
is.
a protein
Yes,
treatment,
Mama.
family.
It feels
That's exactly what you'd pay $40 for at a salon counter today, except she made it standing at her own kitchen counter with something already in the icebox. Number 12. She never brushed wet hair hard. A wide tooth comb, gentle sections. And if a knot resisted, she'd add a little more oil right at that spot and work it loose rather than force it. Wet hair stretches and breaks under pressure. It can't survive dry. Nobody taught her the word elasticity. She'd learned the
All
lesson the
snug
hard
for
way
the
once
night.
on her own head as a girl. And she never
It feels
repeated the
soft,
mistake
Grandma.
on anyone else's. Number 13. The braid out or the plaits that followed weren't just styling. Stretched, sectioned hair overnight under a satin scarf meant less friction, less breakage while she slept, and hair that held moisture longer than if it had been left loose against a cotton pillowcase. She didn't own the word protective style. She owned a scarf her own mother had given her, and she
Darling,
understood. The same way she
This
understood
rosemary
everything
smells
else
just
in this
lovely,
ritual,
doesn't it?
through repetition and result. Number 14, rosemary sprigs. Sometimes boiled right into the rinse water. Sometimes just crushed between her palms and rubbed straight onto the scalp for the smell and whatever it was doing underneath that smell. There's a reason rosemary shows up in kitchen after kitchen across this tradition family. It wasn't decoration. It was function she trusted before anyone published a single study confirming it. Number 15. And this is the one that ties every single thing I've told you together. At the very end, after the oil and the heat and the massage and the careful, patient combing, she'd take that same tin of bergamot from earlier, warm just a little between her palms one more time, and smooth it lightly over the entire head like a seal. Not to add more product, to lock in everything that had already been done. The last step was never about adding something new. It was about
What? I
protecting
know,
the
Mama.
work
We're ready for
that
the
had
march
already
tomorrow.
happened.
That's my girl.
And if that isn't the whole philosophy of this tradition sitting right there in one small gesture,
You
I don't know
look
what
just
is.
beautiful,
15
my
steps
lovely
down.
girl.
not one of them required a salon appointment. Not one of them required a chemical relaxer, a heat-protectant spray, or a bottle with the celebrity's name on the label. It required patience, a stove, a comb, and hands that had been taught by hands that came before them. That's the part the beauty industry could never sell you, because it isn't a product, it's a relationship. Between a mother and a daughter, between a comb and a section of hair, between a Saturday morning and everything that Saturday morning was quietly teaching without ever calling itself a lesson. The industry didn't improve on this ritual when it arrived with its jars and its promises. It interrupted it. It told an entire generation that what their mothers were doing in the kitchen was old-fashioned, was primitive, was something to leave behind for something modern in a box. And a lot of women believed it, family. A lot of women put down the comb and the warm oil and picked up something with
Is
a chemical
etched
name
into
they
my
couldn't
skin.
pronounce
But
because
my
they were
future
told it was
is
progress. But hair doesn't lie. And decades later, when the studies finally caught up, when scientists confirmed what warm oil does for the scalp, what protein does for the strand, what a satin wrap does overnight that cotton never could, they weren't discovering anything new. They were just finally writing down what was already sitting in every black grandmother's kitchen the whole time. This wasn't old-fashioned family. That's not old-fashioned. That's genius. And it's time we started calling it exactly what it is. Bring the ritual back if you can. Warm the oil.
Always
Take your
love
time
you.
with the sections. Say the names of the women who taught you, even if it's just to yourself while you're standing at your own sink on a Saturday morning. Because that's how this survives. Not in a bottle, but in hands still willing to do it the way it was always meant to be done. I'll see you next time.